So I don't know if y'all heard, man, but Chandler Moore and Naomi Raine, the faces of Maverick City music, is exiting from Maverick City. Now, I did not see this coming. After the interview that Naomi Raine gave for Lecrae, I did not see this coming at all. I did not. Like, she was a fierce defendant of Maverick City and the music and the business behind their success and whatnot. And I kind of tied it into another interview, which I'll play later, with the CEO. Like, it seemed like she was like ride or die Maverick City. And I haven't really seen too much from Chandler Moore about his stance on it until I saw this. And I was like, oh snap. It says Chandler Moore sues Maverick City Music amid abrupt exit claim the CEO abused his power. It says days before Maverick City Music co-founder announced his abrupt departure from the Grammy-winning Worship Collective, he sued the group's chief executive for allegedly stealing millions of dollars worth of royalties from him. The civil fraud lawsuit obtained by Billboard was filed by Moore's lawyers in Atlanta federal court last Wednesday, October 1st. 5 days later, on Monday, October 6th, Moore announced on social media that he was leaving Maverick City Music and focusing on solo projects. That was 3 days ago. You know what I'm saying? Now, here's where it gets interesting. The lawsuit named several corporate entities, including Maverick City Music and the group's label, TRIBL Records, but the primary target is Norman Guillaume, who was Moore's manager before buying an ownership stake in Maverick City Music and becoming the collective CEO in 2023. Chat, this does not surprise me that this is happening. You want to know why? Now, you want to know why? Y'all remember this interview that I played when I did the stream with Naomi Watts and whatnot? Y'all remember this interview? I played this during my Maverick City Gone Crazy stream. I'm going to play it for y'all again because listen to how the CEO talks in regards to the business and success of Maverick City. Listen.
Maverick broke a lot of traditional Christian norms. Was that intentional or was it just God?
No, it was intentional. Maverick broke because...
No spirit in that. No spirit in that. You said it was intentional. Meaning by their own power.
The gospel norms wasn't working no more, man. Y'all sing too hard. Y'all oversing.
Good God.
Stop doing that. Nobody want to hear no runs. They look at runs. They don't want to sing runs. That's why R&B and pop, that's why pop is more popular than R&B. People like singable music. Wow. They want to, like you would rather, that's why Chris Tomlin was the greatest worship leader ever. Why? You want to know why?
Why?
He's not the best vocalist ever.
Wow.
So people like to hear music. They think, oh, I could do that. That's what's going to happen at a church. If a worship leader hear you singing, he think, I could never do that. He's not going to sing the song. Like, why would he? If you sing a song in a way that, like, it's congregational, that's why the mix on their stuff is different. We mix towards us singing. They mix towards the congregation singing. You'll hear a lot of loud audience, BGV, more instrumentation. Barely, you're gonna hear the main vocal, but it's different. The reason in that is that makes you want to sing. The way you get people to love a song is they sing the song. Think about it. Think about the songs you love the most. You know all the lyrics.
Right.
And then you hear a song, it don't matter how good a song is. If you don't know the lyrics, it's like, next song. You can't wait to hear a song you know all the lyrics to. Everybody's that way. And so when you can get a singable song, then you got a hit. Then people want to sing it, and that's what Maverick made songs people wanted to sing.
Facts.
And they made videos that looked like they was in the living room with you during the pandemic. Coming out of the pandemic, we had to come up with a new strategy of how to still invite people in. But all in all, Maverick took what they were doing in more so Christian worship music and brought it to gospel. You brought really well-developed songs, light production. Everybody say every Maverick song sound the same. So y'all sing them all. You know what I'm saying?
It's kind of
Who cares
crazy.
that they all sound the same? You know, and there was some...
And they don't, but I get what you're saying.
There's some struggles in that for them as well because you are... these are still really talented artists.
Right.
You look at these artists, they know that they are... I don't want to say dumbing down, but they're pacifying their strengths. Chandler can sing circles around. You know what I'm saying? These people can sing. You hear Brandon Lake can sing like Chris Staples, and he can sing like Justin Bieber. They can do it, but there's something in bridling that. Like really, like, you know, not going full go every time.
Yeah.
And then they didn't use BGVs, they used the choir. And the choir, you know, they just took a different approach because the reality of what we were doing in gospel isn't what was permeating music at the time.
Right.
I look at consumption. People love to talk about number ones, number one. If you talk about a radio number one in gospel, that's not a number one. Radio is not number one no more. You can't, if you look at the number one songs at radio and you combine the last 10 number one songs at radio, skip Chance, skip Kirk, they don't have 100,000 streams combined.
Jesus.
So having a number one at radio doesn't mean anything in gospel, not right now. And that's not a knock to gospel, that's a knock to us in supporting the infrastructure. So Maverick was able to get consumption. So you talk about, you go look at it today, and I'm gonna say something, most people not gonna believe this. Maverick City outstreams the entire gospel industry combined.
I believe that.
By themselves.
I believe that.
If you add up every other artist's streams and you just compare it to Maverick City, they outstream everybody else combined. And what that is telling you is that clearly what they are doing is what people want to hear. Stop fighting the tide. People keep saying, we want choir music back. Choir music would have never died if people wanted to listen to it. We need to do more quartet. If people want to listen to quartet, it would still be a thing.
Wow.
You don't see, like, when people stop consuming something, they don't want it. You don't see, okay, there's nostalgic value like to a vinyl or to a Kodak camera, but at the end of the day, you still take most of your pictures on your phone.
Right.
You know, you go do the little thing, that's cool here and there, but you want that 8K picture.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm saying these things to say that there should have, the problem that happened was gospel should have embraced Maverick. They should have embraced it, made it their own, collaborated with them, done everything they could to see them go forward. The reason is, and they should have done everything to support and keep them together. This is why. It only benefited everybody else.
Facts.
It only benefited everybody else. The big tours you did, you get what I'm saying? The reunion is a result of Maverick touring.
Facts.
You get what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying that they were the fix-all. It was a lot that went into that. But what happened with Maverick was the opposite. Everybody hated on it. Nobody called it real. Everybody said it's this, that, it's this. And all that happened from that is you saw the subsequent genre die.
Woo.
This was Chandler's manager. And literally all you hear is business. That's literally all you hear is business. So like I said, and this Norman Giaffi, that was Chandler's manager. This is the guy that Chandler is about to sue to get his money back. Listen to the way he talks. It's all money. It's all money. So I'm not even surprised by this. Now, this, for lack of a better term, sucks. You know what I'm saying? Because now you're kind of seeing a splinter in the Christian music industry. Now like the business of Christian music is kind of being put out there now. And I pray that the messaging behind Christian music isn't watered down by stories like this. I don't, because now people, especially people on the outside of the faith, they're going to look at this and be like, oh, they're just as greedy as, you know what I'm saying, people at Republic. You got people at tribal music, Christian music, quote unquote, just as greedy as people over at Interscope and Def Jam. You know what I mean? Like, this just waters it down, man. Like, I hate stories like this. I pray that Chandler gets what he deserves, but this is what I was talking about, and people came at me for this in the comment section. They were like, oh, money, why you so focused on the money? Like, as long as they're doing so and so and so and so. And I said, look, I'm not upset about people getting money for doing their worship. Is it ideal in regards to like the faith of promoting the gospel? No, because it does send a mixed message. But if people need to eat, they need to eat. What I was saying though, is that when it becomes a priority to where the messaging behind the worship music gets diluted by the chase and the pursuit of money, as we're seeing today, when that takes higher precedence than worship, there's an issue. And now we're seeing it in 4K. Now we're seeing it. This is on Billboard. This story's on Billboard. This is huge. This is like the biggest platform in music. The biggest platform in music. And now people are seeing this. So again, the message behind Christian music, unfortunately, gets diluted by this. And it's like, for what? For what? Greed, man. It's all greed. And this is what I was talking about. Why is this such a priority on mute? Why is there such a high monetary value? Why is there such priority in money when it comes to worship? When worship is supposed to be music that ushers you into the presence of the Lord. You can't put a monetary value on that. You can't. Because you end up with situations like this. So I hope that one day they get straightened out in regards to worship band Christian artists, to where this is not a reoccurring thing, that this is a one-off thing, which it won't be because, you know, humans are humans. But I hope that this is not like just a constant reoccurring thing where people again got into Christian. We're supposed to be brothers in Christ, and they over there. This is a thing. This is a distraction. This is an unnecessary distraction from the gospel and from the messaging behind worship music, from the message of the gospel as a whole. We got to do better, y'all. We got to do better. I pray that there's peace behind this and that Chandler is able to get the restitution that he's looking for. But it's like, man, all this for what? All this for what? And the thing that scares me about this too is that it kind of exposes the dark side behind Christian content. Where's the heart behind Christian content?